Crop Talk on Market Journal is supported by Nebraska's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
And finally today, last week, Nebraska Extension wrapped up their series of Soybean Management Field Days at the Eastern Nebraska Research, Extension, and Education Center. This event provided growers with the latest in soybean production, management, and marketing. During our time there, we caught up with Extension Entomologist Justin McMechan to discuss what potential threats are still looming for Nebraska producers as we inch closer to harvest.
At this year's Soybean Management Field Days, producers had the opportunity to discuss the latest techniques and technologies in soybean production by networking with fellow farmers, industry experts, and extension educators like Justin McMechan. During his time presenting at the event, Justin highlighted two particular threats that producers should be on the lookout for as the growing season winds down.
Yeah, two things we really discussed. Soybean gallmage was one and Decty stem borer was the other. A lot of focus on soybean gallmage. This area, not so many hands up on big issues this year, but just south of here at previous field days, lots of issues. Talking 90% plus of growers having issues with soybean gallmage. Now that's anywhere from a few dead plants on the edge of the field to growers talking about significant losses from soybean gallmage. And so we focused on what's new, and a lot of what's new is we started doing some variety testing, commercial variety testing. Big deal with that is we're anywhere between 6% dead plants to 60% dead plants. So it matters what people are planting in their field. I think growers want a lot more of that. It's just challenging. Companies are reluctantly kind of stepping into that space. I think it's new space for them, and so we're hoping for a lot more of that activity. And then we kind of showed them what we've been seeing in the state this year in terms of where pressure is, and it mirrors a lot of those conversations. Southeast part of the state seeing a lot of high numbers of larvae, a lot of dead plants. Kind of fades as we go north, but there's larval presence all the way up to the South Dakota border. 8 in 10 chance somebody steps in a field, they're going to find it. Yeah, most of the conversations we're having right now are about what do we do about the current infestation we have and all the dead plants that are out there. People are asking me, can I disc up my field, turn it under, where I have all those dead plants, because I'm getting weed issues now. And so that's a challenging thing to talk about because we don't really know the advantage, if there's any advantage to that besides the weed control. And they might turn in some gallmage in the ground that might reemerge and infest further in the field. So that's the main part of those conversations. We're really focused on next season. You have an issue in this field. What do you plant next year? And then some of that management practices in terms of we're doing some tillage in the field we're planting into. We're increasing our depth of planting and changing our planter a little bit. And it looks like that helps a little bit to hide those critical fissures that are right near the base of the plant.
Japanese beetles have also been a consistent pest for many producers around the state. Once those pests are spotted in your crop, it may be tempting to treat your fields to mitigate any potential damage. However, it's important to make your management decisions based on the amount of defoliation present in your fields.
Yeah, I get a few Japanese beetle phone calls where people are, I see a lot defoliating along the edge of the field. Every time I have those conversations, I'm always like, take a look at that whole plant rather than just the top. Often looks bad as you approach the field. We always overestimate defoliation. I've seen Decties in the field, or Japanese beetle in the field, but that top area, if you just went on that, you might spray. But if you move down the plant, you see a lot of it's in really good shape, and so by the time you get down to the bottom, you've got a threshold well below what we would spray for, which is 20% this time of the season where we're in reproductive stages. So very few cases where I get somebody who actually needs to treat. 90+% don't need to treat this time of the year.
As we inch closer and closer to harvest, you may want to think about prioritizing which fields you'll tackle first, as pest challenges you face during the season may cause some headaches as those fields begin to dry down.
Decties. If you've seen the odd wilting or dead petiole along field borders and you're looking at maybe 50% plus of plants being infested, you want to prioritize those areas for harvest. On the flip side, or the same side of that, is gallmage. Gallmage has been feeding at the base of these plants. They've really weakened them. So winds that we're getting, we got some storms through last weekend, knocked over a lot of plants in the field. If we get more of those, we're likely to see more plant breakage. So just keep up on those fields. If you're seeing a lot of broken plants, get those ones that broke off early or are breaking off out first.
With harvest right around the corner, now's the time to stay vigilant for any pests that could potentially eat into those profits. Reporting for Market Journal, I'm Bill Dodd.